No yay, no hey? Gee. Seriously, guys. Alright. Systems of flow. Hey, this is the way. This is the way PowerPoint. Yeah. Any idea what can flow? People, okay? Huh? Energy.
Conversation.
Conversation, communications. Yeah, what else? What else is on the list when we think about systems of flow?
Money, economics.
Yeah? Think about a little bit more physical in terms of site planning. Automobiles, traffic, people.
Yeah, pedestrian walk.
Yeah? What about water?
Yeah. Waste.
Waste. Huh? What else?
Yeah, maybe activity.
Activities such as?
Like, you know, like activities change from time to time. So what people do in the park at 1 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, don't do.
Think about land use on the site plan when you do this. Different activities during the day and night.
Shopping in schools.
Shopping in schools. Parking. What about parking? Not just parks. Parking is different as well. Yeah? You also have a different system of flow when we talk about maintenance. Delivery service in the morning versus pizza in the evening is different. Yeah? You have the delivery trucks downtown, and only in certain areas and certain time frames. Yeah? When I talk about systems of flow, example, let's say, is water. You got to think about the capacity. How much water do you need for that subdivision? How do you get the water there? There are tons of engineers who are dealing with just plumbing and piping, as in what is the diameter of your water main to connect that subdivision? Is it 4 inch? Is it an 8 inch? You have to have 2 or 3 connectors into a subdivision. Again, we're not doing here an engineering class, we're not going to go into those details, but it is the question here also in saying, what's the typical load and the amount?
Emergency door.
Yeah, that's the emergency door. I'm not worried about that yet. Fire alarm will hear differently. And I have my protective key to lock those doors for the other scenarios.
I'm throwing out that window thing. I didn't even see it.
Alright, so if I look at systems, in terms, let's say, of water, I need to talk about water pressure. Different size of pipe, different water pressure, it will be different flow. Let's say a fire hydrant, you want to have good flow, good pressure, right? Because you need a lot of water very quickly to get the fire out. You don't want to have a garden hose. You want to have a firefighter with the sea level hose. So, if I look at peak amount versus typical load and typical load amount, this could be electricity. As an example, when do you think is the highest amount or peak amount of electricity?
6.
6-ish. Depending on the patterns of traffic and communities. If you have a bedroom community where people live just during the night, and during the regular weekday they are out and driving 50 miles down the street, do their shopping and then come back just to their homes, nothing else, like literally ghost town during the day. You can be sure that around 4 till 5 till 6 o'clock, depending on the geographic area and the season, the AC or the heat is going to kick in. The peak amount is also an interesting example. I had that when I went to grad school. We had a fun discussion about the water pressure and the water supply of the local utility water tower. Think about this. It's Super Bowl game night. And exactly when the whistle goes and it's halftime break, before the show starts, you have like 3 minutes to go where? To the bathroom. So imagine the peak amount if all folks in the community are flushing the bathroom at the same time. Very little flow, but the amount of people doing the same activity at the same time will change. Let's talk about AC again. How do you manage peak amount loads? Recently, have you guys recently talked, who's a homeowner? Alright. Are you part of some energy saving programs and scheduling programs with FPL? No? So the idea is...
I think I pay the same amount throughout the year on what's the average is, so that I don't pay different.
Oh yeah, that's just the installment plan, as in you don't pay the variables, you just leveled out to make it even. Yeah. But it's just to help you with your monthly cash flow, so you don't have $500 one day and the next month you're down to $50 again. Yeah? No, what utility companies are doing is they offer you an optional program, not all of them, but some do, to install a shut-off on your compressor or on your AC control. Yeah? Meaning that you do agree for a specific better rate, not to have access all time to your power supply for your AC. As in, I switch off yours, I keep yours on. Now I'm supplying one AC unit in. Yeah? And for the next hour, your home is still cool but heating up slowly. And then I give you the power and switch him off. I might do this by subdivision, I might do this randomly for half an hour here, for half an hour here. What does this mean in terms of flow? This is my energy. I'm guiding all the energy to him, cut off to him, versus a little bit here, a little bit here. It's not going to work you, not going to work for you. Capacity is not good enough. Yeah? At some point, if I give everyone all of these little things, I end up in this big load again, causing maybe a problem. Can't supply the system. You know? Or, as a utility company, I don't have enough energy in the system, I need to buy it from somewhere else and feed it into my grid. That's expensive. You know? The other way around, which is an interesting concept, it's not necessarily systems of flow, but impacts. What's so funny?
That's how Warren Buffett makes his money, because he owns a power company in Nevada and he sells a lot of excess energy.
My example is Idaho Power. Idaho Power made a very interesting decision. They supply free trees to Idaho homes, 2 or 3 a year per homeowner. And they actually have a web app. You can look at your home from the sky and you can place which tree you would like to put as close or far away from your house. Why? Because over the years, 5 to 10, 15 years, a tree, if it's well treated, starts growing. If it's placed right, it will produce shade and cover for the house. Shade and cover for the house, speaking of function and synergies, less energy used in the house to cool the house in summertime. Yeah? You might save $5 a year or $10 a year. They will save millions, if not billions, of infrastructure to be put in place to reach the next capacity level. I make this polarizing comment about power plant. Yeah? Let's say the next level is $1 billion investment. If I spend $10 million a year to have you save energy and I can stay in my level of capacity, and I don't have to buy another TV for $1 billion on top of that. Yeah? If I make sure that I guide you through that capacity the proper way and deliver, and you are still happy, I save money. Capital improvement project I don't have to pay for. Yeah? It goes back to the idea, systems of flow. Yeah? When we do this, we can look at that. street patterns, parking, utilities. Yeah? There is a different, let's say, sewer capacity. Yeah? I'm going to do this very later in this class, 2 slides or so, where we look at the system between a gravity-fed and a pressurized sewer system. Yeah? As in, take all the sewage, put it into a pump, and put it to 2-inch or 4-inch pipe over miles to the sewer treatment plant. Yeah? Instead of a septic tank or something like this. Yeah? Versus gravity-fed. If we have almost 0 elevation in Florida, we have certain elevation underground, so I actually have pump stations, lift stations, to lift up all that comes down, lift it up again, all that comes down, depending on the site. That's expensive infrastructure. Might be easier, just collect that, put that into a compressor, and run it through the system. Huh? And then, think when you read this again, systems of flow, AC units, inlets, outlets, different systems of flow. Yeah? There's super high tech in there, as in dampers and moisturizers and all that, because apparently if you have high rises and you have centralized air conditioning channels, they heat up because of the friction of the air. You gotta cool that stuff at some point. Yeah? So it's a little bit more complicated and complex than we actually think. Do I have to do a sketch? I have it in the video. I can do this very quick. Just think about a few things. It's clean. Clean this. Quite small. So, if I look at patterns locally, look at flow in streets as an example, depending on how I have designed my streets, I will have a different flow. Do you follow with that? Do you agree with that? Interstate versus local street. 6 lanes in one direction, different capacity, different speed. Yeah? Have accident, clock up the system, boom. Yeah? Same thing. Just to repeat this a little bit, I can take this off. If I have a grid system, I'll go from this place to this place. If I have a helicopter, I go straight. Huh? If I happen to walk, I can walk this way as an example, or can, let's say, walk this way. Huh? Makes sense. This is a busy road. This is a small little neighborhood road. Huh? I know walking, as an example, in Florida. Well, first time I did this, Mr. Krause basically said, no, nobody walks in Florida. Okay, fine. Let's try. Busy road down here. Different capacity. Well, hop in here in the car, go this way, go up there. Huh? Faster than a walking person. Wait a minute. What if
Well, one-way streets?
one-way streets? This way. You can't turn right here. So what if this is a one-way street and this is a one-way street? Now you end up actually going this way to this. Going home, this way, down there. Different flow based on the pattern. Alright? One example. Let's do this a different way. What if you have a grid like this? Irregular. Let's do walking in here, let's do driving in here, and then put restrictions on it. Yeah? Small neighborhood, more regional context. Yeah? Think about the sketch the way, but University Drive, Pine Island, Uphill, Hades, and then let's say Sawgrass Mill Express. Yeah? There are different patterns in streets. At 5 o'clock, hallelujah, I'm not going to be on Pine Island or University Drive. Particularly if it's 595, plus or minus. Leave here at 5 minutes before 5 during the weekday. I'm gone home in 20 minutes with traffic. Leave at 5:15. Faster to get actually happy hour done and then go home. Yeah? Seriously, the longest commute I had from this place to my house was 45 minutes. Morning commute is 13 with red lights. So, different patterns. Alright, historical patterns. We had that on some of the aerial photography. If you have really, really weird, small, organically grown places. Huh? Could be a simple thing again. You have a plaza, you have, let's say, a larger road, and they have offsets, materials, and they connect over time. Maybe there was a city wall. Huh? It's not the way we construct space in the US. Because we don't have that historic context where we are, well, we do, but there's a difference between, hello, 200-year-old little city versus 2,000-year-old city. There's a different historical substance in place. And this goes on and on and on, and we have seen this here, again, patterns from the slide earlier. Let's say you have a star pattern, yeah? Or what we had in discussion for our design schedule, you actually have like a central function, yeah? And elements face towards that. Huh? Again, if I give a building or a function on my design a higher priority, I can elevate that through the patterns and the systems of flow. I think that's the reason why the chapter 3 and 4 are absolutely hilarious in their simplicity to make life complex in our today's time. Yes, please.
How do they make like older cities like Rome and Rome, London, and Paris?
Oh,
how do they make them work for the modern day? Because the roads there are very narrow. They're built for horse carriages and stuff.
They don't work. That's the charm.
They don't work.
That's the beauty of this. All right, in this case, Thanksgiving literature. Read up, find something about Le Corbusier. Read The Garden City from Ebenezer Howard. Because the manifest says literally the great cities, the big cities have failed. New York, Paris, London. The big cities have failed. We need to go down to other ideas of livability. Today you would say livability. Quality of life. So how do you do that? Well, based on standards back then, based on your standards today, you define this in a different way. Livability, last week, livability was higher if you had impact windows. Or storm shutters you put out. Storm shutters, close them, switch on your electric lights, and after a day you're done with this. Cabin fever is real. So they don't work. That's the reason why this whole profession of urban planners, architects, designers, landscape architects, they're in good business, most likely. Why? Because we epically fail with the built environment and the humans we put in. It's like the snow globe example. What we had as smart growth works in certain areas in the country, in some areas it doesn't. Yeah? Complete streets. It's a design component coming from these ideas, new thinking ideas. Some areas they work, in some areas they don't, or didn't even get recognized.
Is there like a form of city, like a design pattern that works, like a very popular design pattern, besides a grid system, that works for almost any circle?
That's the design.
What is it?
Government function, a boundary, and an opening or gateway. That is the design, I think, that would, based on that question, without any preparation, but saying, okay, we have done a little bit in that field, I would go with that. Looks like an eyeball. Yeah? But why? Because in the classic medieval sense of the state of the city-state. Yeah? It's incorporated in the US context. As in, you have a charter, you have actually a written manifest of what is the city about. That's somewhat the incorporation of a city. You have it in place. Yeah? Medieval ages, the right to govern. We have that too, constitutional right, 5 and 14. Yeah? Right to police and right to self-govern. You have the right to print money, to coin. Yeah? If you have been in a coining city in Europe, you have been rather rich. With coin comes trade. Yeah? With trade comes taxation. Yeah? So you also would be then a resident of that city, a citizen. Yeah? With the obligation to be taxed. But for that, you actually have protection within the city walls. Yeah? So suburbia is out there. Your functional linkage now is 5 miles with the automobile. Let's do an automobile sketch. Yeah? Suburbia over time decides, well, let's get incorporated, have a small city wall. And you spread it out. There are certain advantages for being incorporated as a city and vice versa. No? Because you have to provide certain utilities at some point. Or not. Depends. I also would say there's no perfect, what we call Gestalt, or form, yeah, of a city. But if you want to drill it down to the basic functions, again, yeah, like number 1, function, number 2, access and distance, number 3, actually the layout, government function, protective function, that could be a square or triangle, yeah. Depends on the time. You remember there was the wall system where you could shoot different directions. So it depends. Good question. A little bit off topic for me right now, but a good question. Okay. The book has these little tiny pictograms of all these little grids. Yeah? All those grids, they have different ideas behind it. Yeah? And it's really interesting to see how they built this. Let's do one grid. We see more and more. Some people like it, some people don't. Any idea what this could be?
Four-way stop.
Four-way stop. What is it now?
Roundabout.
Evil on the street. Yeah? Because some people do not really know how to deal with a roundabout.
They're more efficient.
So,
They're more efficient.
why are they more efficient?
Makes you slow down.
Justify that statement.
Because the traffic's moving constantly and it allows for free flowing of traffic.
Alright, let's make this a simple 1 lane. Car comes down here. Gotta circulate like this. Up, right turn. The car can go this way. Car comes in here. As we said, yield. The moment this guy is gone,
Yeah, he's in he always
I
goes.
follow.
Yeah.
Don't have the 30-second red light, I have to wait. A four-way with a stop sign is a good attempt. If you're a thriving community, and this is the European kid speaking about American traffic, and the guy is laughing in the back. A thriving community, and it depends from region to region and state to state, including different age groups, and experience of thriving in traffic. A regular four-way stop with stop signs is miserable gridlock happening. If you don't believe me, I invite you, 4 or 5 p.m. on, let's say, Friday. A little tower shopping center right north of our university. The whole parking and access to that shopping area is done with four-way stop signs in 2 or 3 sequences. And hallelujah, you have no idea, can't curse here, sorry, say hallelujah. You have no idea if this person is going straight, or will be a left turn, or it's just a misconceptual right turn, not yet proud enough to turn right. Why? There is no indication going on. Slows down, upsets people. I'm not even driving that intersection right now, and I can picture how many people I will curse out in German.
That's only because people don't follow the rules.
Again, as I said, driving culture is different. Speaking of culture, places. Places are spaces with felt value, culture, and identity. Examples: Chinatown, Little India, Sweet Home, Home Sweet Home. Just can't say that enough. All right. Again, what you see here on the board is each design has advantages and disadvantages. Missed one. Missed one example. You're going to bring. Missed one more example. Let's do it. Toros open. This is last one. If I have different designs in a typical setup of subdivisions, I invite you to, let's say, open up Google Maps, area photography. We'll see different patterns. One, those are major roads, let's say 1 mile by 1 mile patterns. You can see something like this would be Pine Island. You see some subdivisions that might actually curl around the lake and end up like this as well. I'm drawing this with the same pen right now. So think about this larger street outside, larger streets outside. Think about like we have here, University, Pine Island, and all that. You also have let's say a pattern like this. Not connected. And I will just scribble something like that. Not showing any topography or water bodies. There are different patterns resulting with different amount of flows. If you say 8 o'clock, everyone's leaving for work. If I live here, work here, I'm going to drive this whole spiral and then connect to regional traffic. Here, fairly rather fast connector out, my driveway is less. This could be water bodies, etc. Again, very conceptualized. But if you think about this, take a look at the subdivisions around this area. How much water bodies they include. There is a pattern of waves going on, curvage. It's not necessarily completely grid. Pattern like this, a pattern like this, you will see. And then including water. Not just because it's state law, how you deal with water and drainage and retention, but also design components. You will see that there are certain regional design components and patterns differently. Take Google Maps, fly to Pennsylvania, take a look at that. State of Delaware, different from DC. Different flavors in the region and scale again, like Kenny pointed out earlier. Alright, that said, I owe you a class time as a hurricane lecture. I will get you that video. Let's repeat on stuff I did today, because it's important. I cannot stress it out. If you guys do the readings before you come to class, the lecture is going to be shorter and more exciting for you. As in, like you said in the book, bing, 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 2 more examples. Yeah? And I'm done with the whole chapter. I don't have to repeat this. I can see that in your faces at some point. Food coma, tired, long day, maybe not really prepared or completely bored. Yeah? So, gotta work on that. Please come in prepared. It's not a massive amount of reading. I think equal time we will spend on reading this with notes and thinking this, hey, how will this work today? Because the book is a little bit of age. So I truly invite you for that element, because then it's way more easier for me and you really enjoy this. Right now everyone's like, can we go home? No, we're going to get the Legos out and actually have team-based work for the rest of the lecture today. Alright? If you have any questions, let me know. I'm more than happy to send out emails if you have detailed questions for the whole class. Alright? Let's do another 5-minute break. Change the setup. You can't really move those tables anymore or much. So find some spots for the teams and go through with every team and jogging. And I need your papers. I want to see the full colorized sets. And number is good enough. Or name on the back side. I literally want to read your justification after I looked at your imagery.